Welcome back to Under Oath. Two attorneys arguing about the law. Give me the next thing that I'm going to be upset with.
All right. The next thing you're going to be upset with is mental health issues versus criminal law and versus involuntary commitment to like insane asylums. So and here's the setup, and it's ridiculous. All right. So this guy shoots a gun into a car. Don't think he kills anybody, and they try to convict him, but they find, well, actually, he's not competent to stand trial. Okay, that's not unusual. That happens sometimes. You're not competent to stand trial. That means you have a mental deficiency. Off to the insane asylum you go. He gets to the insane asylum, and they're like...
Mental health facility.
No,
we'll mental health facility.
Whatever politically correct term you want to use.
Mental health
whatever.
facility.
The asylum...
They don't even call them asylums anymore.
Well, I call them
What,
asylums.
do you think you're watching a Batman movie?
Yeah,
Okay.
Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they get. So,
Okay, yeah.
So they send this guy to Arkham Asylum, and they say, "Well, hold on, he's not so mentally bad off that he deserves to be involuntarily committed. So we're gonna let him go." What you tell me, Jeff? What happens?
Let me get this straight.
What happens when they let this guy who already shot a gun into a car at somebody? What happens when the mental institution says, nah, you're fine. Go back out and live your life? What
Someone
do you think
else is going
happens?
to get killed.
Yeah. A college girl shot in the head.
Ugh. How are these guys getting guns?
Stole it.
I guess you don't have to worry about waiting periods when you're stealing your guns.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The laws.
No background checks when you steal them.
Laws for gun ownership, that only affects people who actually care about the law. People who don't care about
follow the law. Who follow
people who don't
Not
care about
but
the
follow
law.
the law.
Well, whatever.
You
People
can
who
care
don't care
about it,
about
just
the
not
law,
follow it.
It's not going to stop them from getting a gun.
Okay, so what's this guy's name?
The guy's name.
I want to know what I want to talk.
Jillian. No, that's who was killed. Jillian Ludwig,
Ugh.
poor lady. Shaquille Taylor. Shaquille Taylor.
Shaquille Taylor. Shaq Taylor. So he's
bad off, we can't hold you responsible for your own actions.
I had a case where I remember it, where I had an 85-year-old who had done something extremely heinous, but he clearly was not in his right. He didn't have his faculties together. And he wound up being put in an institution, and he probably spent a significant portion of his life there. Now, the question I'm wondering is this. He's not qualified. He's not that crazy or mentally ill to stay in a facility.
Right. He
But
doesn't
it's
meet the
enough to get him
qualifications.
off of a
Yes.
major crime.
And how ridiculous is that?
We know that's BS. Where was
Of
this?
course, this is a systems failure.
Where was
Tennessee.
No, not Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
God,
Of
Tennessee
all
normally-
places.
Tennessee
I
takes
was
that stuff
expecting this
serious.
to be California, too.
I was expecting NYC. I thought it'd be
California,
NYC.
New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Tennessee.
Chicago. See, we don't say this because we want to disparage certain places, but when you have huge cities,
Well, I don't care about disparaging certain
I
places.
do. I don't want to upset people.
California is a cesspool.
Could you stop it?
Okay, all right.
The point is that when you're dealing with, let's just say, I worked in Miami, and when I was working at the state attorney's in Miami, I would have 300 cases in the morning, 300 cases in the afternoon, and you were just throwing files into boxes. You didn't have a chance to figure out what this person was or what this person wasn't. You just had too much. So when I think of cities like Los Angeles and New York City and Miami and Chicago, they just have too much. Tennessee, you don't have too much. There's no reason how this slipped through the cracks. And I promise you, in Tennessee, heads will roll.
Hopefully, there's a dead college student because they couldn't get their act together in Tennessee. Now, if you cannot be held responsible criminally, how could you possibly be thrown out of a mental institution because you're not deficient enough? You are one or the other. They are mutually exclusive. If you can't be tried, by definition, you have to be in a mental facility. What is the answer to this?
Here's where life sucks. Going to law school for 3 years is kind of like going to medical school. They train the emotion out of you. They tell you to look at the facts, figure out what the options are, find the requirements of a certain rule or procedure, and follow that procedure. But how do you even think of that when you're going, if it was my daughter? And that's the hard thing about being a lawyer. You can't say, if it was my daughter. We have to look at the system. We have to go, what is practical? What is the law? And the law that deals with mental deficiencies concerns my ability to appreciate the situation, to appreciate my conduct. Now, if this guy sounds like somebody, he's just a nut job to begin with. And I don't want to say technically it's probably called something else, but you got this nut job who almost kills somebody. And you're going to go, well, let's just stick him into a facility that's going to dump him out on the street in 5 days. I don't think there's an answer to making that situation better. But I think they need to alter the rules.
No, there is an answer, and that is don't have these ridiculous requirements on keep people in these facilities. The criteria for keeping them in the facility is far too rigid.
Can't afford it.
We used to be able to afford it. We used to have insane asylums that had lots of residents. We don't have those anymore. We just shove them back out on the street.
We don't have the money.
And who has to deal with them? The regular working class, middle class people, college kids on campus, maybe working her job at Starbucks. Who knows where she died? But she certainly deserved a better ending to her life than this.
No money. How do you get past the no money situation? You spend money you don't have? Where you know how much it costs to lock somebody up in a mental facility for that time? You can't. Jails are a lot cheaper, but we know a mental facility is probably 3-4 times as much. So I need $200,000 to lock up Shaquille, and we don't have it. What do you do? And you know these administrators are going, dump them, dump.
I don't know what you do necessarily to fix that aspect of it.
That's the problem.
But what you don't do is you let them back out on the street. So if a tragedy has to occur, if somebody has to experience the inequity of the situation, it should be the person who has the mental deficiency, not some innocent person who's trying to make their life better. You have somebody now who died, who is going to be a contributing member to society, was going to go out and make the world a better place, and she's gone, and in her place is this piece of garbage.
You think the goal was to help Shaq out? The goal was to keep the facility under the amount of people they have. They go, we only have room for 100.
And I'm not talking about making a big mansion for this guy to stay at a mental institution. I'm saying go ahead and prosecute him.
But they can't because he doesn't have it.
Yeah, of course you can. The standard on whether or not you can stand.
A guy who's
they need to change the standard. If you can be released, if you can't be held in a commitment facility against your will, then you have to be able to be in a situation where they can prosecute you. So the definition of mentally unable to stand trial has to change in Tennessee so that this guy could have been convicted.
I'm going to tell you right now, I promise you the negligence in this case, the people who were wrong weren't the prosecutors. It was the hospital who said, listen, we're going to let him go. We're not going to pay for him to be here. It wasn't Shaquille who was saving money or he received the benefit of it. It was the hospital who didn't have to take care of him who received the benefit. And I think them releasing him, they're the people who
But you just made the argument on why they had to release him because they couldn't afford to keep him. So what are they supposed to do?
What are they supposed to do? Good question. I don't know if there is an answer.
There is.
You know how
allow this guy to be prosecuted and we can keep him in jail.
We know what'll happen though.
Make it harder to get the exception to be excused from your criminal action for mental disability.
I have the answer. The Ludwig family contacts Kaufman and Lynd.
The what?
The Ludwig. That was her name.
The lady, sure.
Jillian's parents contact us. We sue the hospital that let her go.
Let him go.
Let him go. Judgment gets delivered for how much they'll do, and they'll be offended. Then the hospital will go, we're not releasing the next guy because we're not writing that check. And that's what lawsuits are about. People don't realize that when you sue a big company and they have to write a big check, they change the way they do things unless they can afford the big check. Most of the time, they can't afford the big check, and they change the policy. They will never release a guy like this again if they have to write the big check. So, given the 30 seconds that I had to think about the answer is sue the crap out of this hospital who did not do their job. And their job was to keep him in there. And if they needed extra money to do them, send him to another facility. Beg the city for more money. Beg the state for more money. But don't release somebody who is going to commit another crime. There's my answer.
Couldn't agree more.
Oh, look at us.
That's the first time, right?
Wow,
This might be the first time.
we should get medals.
Should we flag this episode?
Friendship bracelets after this?
What-
Joe Bro
what are
bracelets?
those beads? What are those beads you
Joe
bought?
Bro bracelets.
Show bro?
Joe Bro.
Joe bro.
Joe Bro.
I think with this
Joe Bro.
episode is
Joe Bro
deserving
bracelets.
of Joe Bro bracelets.
That'd be something we're going to title the segment, Joe Bro bracelets for both of us.